Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tarnished Bronze. We have a special cult comics episode for you today, focusing on the magnificent magnum opus of Nathan Cowdry, which is War Epic Issue 3. It's the comic that keeps on marching along. War Epic has been disturbing, funny, surreal in equal measure in what happens. And now Nathan is adding some more sophistication regarding the execution on the page, and just War Epic 3 is a real triumph. Essentially, it tells a story of a person running a prison camp. There's various prisoners in there who kind of uh, almost major characters. They're the sort of protagonists. We do see the world through their eyes. We've delved a little bit into Egypt. We've delved a little bit into the Battle of Britain. But this is the issue where the scope really, really, really expands, and we get to see a little bit more of what's happening. We've got this beautiful sort of animation as Simpsons meets Tailspin style. We've got humans, we've got anthropomorphic creatures, we've got robots, we've got Nazis. It has all the stuff. But here we kind of see a difference in execution. So there's these black and white pages, which are kind of like dealing with the prison commander's sort of interior degeneration. It's kind of quite fun here, and you can just see this guy is highly disturbed, and he's really, really, really starting to lose it. We also are now really expanding the background of the characters that we see. So this is set in Shanghai. We're meeting another character who's kind of like either an American or a British agent from the Commonwealth at that time. And she's not having the greatest time, and is hitting the opium pretty hard. And we kind of see how she winds up into this thing, which is a war epic. So if anyone is familiar with James Clavell, who in my mind his best work is King Rat, but you may be familiar with his show Shogun, which I think is also a television thing, and it weaves in, generations of stuff. Nathan Cowdry is kind of trying to do that. He's trying to, and he's doing it very successfully. He's weaving different things, weaving different cultures, weaving different narratives, and they all seem to be coalescing in this prison camp, one way or another. Now, what we haven't seen so far in War Epic, we've seen basically a prison camp. We've seen a little bit of the attempted invasion of Britain. We've seen a little bit of the Blitzkrieg campaigns, and we've seen a little bit of the North African campaigns. We haven't seen the Eastern Front yet. And so here we're starting to see a little bit of that. Now, this is a big flashback, I think, to the collectivization of industry in the former Soviet Union, which you can imagine if you take a bunch of farmers, take the farmers off the farm, put urbanites onto the farm, and expect industrial and agricultural, or sorry, rather agricultural and milk and consumable production to maintain or even improve, then you are delusional. And this is the start of the famine, which would eventually lead to the purges, which would eventually lead to the destabilization of the Ukraine, which would eventually lead to the world that we live in now. But here we see the nascent sort of expropriation of farmers from their land. And we then see, fast forwarding, this grandfather and his granddaughter. The granddaughter is here and she's in color. Now, this is just a magnificent, magnificent way. I don't know what the color signifies yet, whether these people are good or bad, or in the black and white world is now kind of like the stark reality of good and bad. The comic was previously entirely in color. Now it's black and white with some color characters. But I just found this was intriguing, in to the utmost from Nathan Cowdry. I try not to spoil myself when I do these kind of critiques of comics. I try not to read too much about what the creators say. I'm just trying to give you my impressions, which are probably totally wrong. So you've got the creator's intent, but then you also have the third mind. And we've talked about this in Nathan Cowdry stuff, because we're just getting dropped in this story. There's not really that much explanation. We do get a little bit of flashbacks, but it doesn't necessarily A lead to B lead to C. The third mind, the author's work, the reader reading, the third mind tries to fill in the blanks, and that is what is so amazing about war epic for me, is that you can try and fill in the blanks. And long-time listeners of the channel will know that Patrick especially was using this when he didn't have access to all of those X-Men comics. Like, he was able to get 2 or 3 out of every 5, and he would just like ride his bicycle and fill up the adventures that he was missing on in his imagination. So, this is something that we can do ourselves in this, because this has been released since 2021. We've got 3 issues. They're all like triple sized, double sized issues. We're getting a lot of story, but still, because it's drip fed, I just can't help but keep thinking about it. It really is fantastic. So this is the end of War Epic for now. So it's not the end of the story. There's still lots of story to go, but there's in 3 issues. I cherish them. I highly recommend that you try and get your hands on them, because they are magnificent. You can find them at purveyors of the more strange comics. So Partners and Sons is a big one. Once again, the channel's not sponsored, but I want you guys to find this. You can also maybe see 1 or 2 issues on Nathan Cowdry's website, and there may be some graphic novels of his previous work, which are collected, I think, by Fantagraphics. So gobble up all the Nathan Cowdry stuff that you can. It really is tremendous. I love it. We'll be back soon with some more weird comics, some more underappreciated Bronze Age comics, and some more strange stuff or just cool stuff that Patrick and I uncover. So like, follow, and subscribe. I hope you've enjoyed this off-piste trip into war comics, and we will see you very, very soon.